guys, how's it going? And I'd like to talk to you about some of my favorite horror fantasy TV shows. Some that are classic and some that are recent. And first up is One Step Beyond, and this is the official first season, which came out in 2009. And there have been like several bargain sets of this series out, which I've got three of them, and so far there hasn't been a release for the second season for this, and I always enjoyed this quite a bit, and the Sci-Fi Channel used to run this in reruns, and this was much different from the Twilight Zone because it dealt more with psychic phenomena than it did with science fiction and creatures, and plus the stories were very realistic. Next up, I didn't really feel like taking any of my DVDs for this series out, but next up is Showtime's Masters of Horror series, and I've got all of the DVDs, and there have been like two boxed sets, for the series, but it was really cool that they put the series in this on single DVDs with bonus features, and there were only like two seasons of this show, and I'm sure some of you remember it, and definitely the best ones were the ones directed by Stuart Gordon and Dario Argento's Pelts from the second season, and also there was Don Coscarelli's episode from the first season, and the creators of the show, Mick Garris, would later put out Fear Itself on NBC, which was short-lived, and it came out in 2008. And next up is The Outer Limits, and this is, of course, the complete series, the complete classic series. And I never really bothered with the 90s version of this series. I just prefer the classic series because of the creatures and the effects in it. They were really cheesy but fun to watch, and the best episode from the original series is, to me, the one with Martin Sheen. Next up is Night Gallery, and this was Rod Serling's second series after the Twilight Zone, and this lasted for 3 seasons, and it took forever for these seasons to come out, and the last season came out last year, which was only like half-hour episodes on 2 DVDs. And anyway, the stories were pretty entertaining, and they always had these really short, funny segments in between them, and at the end of the episodes, which were really funny. Well, some of them didn't make sense, but the stories were definitely pretty entertaining. Next up is Tales from the Dark Side, and this was a show I grew up watching, and I've got all the seasons. Some of the most memorable episodes were from the first season, like Tom Savini's Inside the Closet, which he also directed. And there was this one episode from the last season where this woman's trying to lose weight, and I think she puts on these glasses and has this hearing aid which forces her not to eat, and then all the food around her starts to have eyes and talk. It's just really funny. Anyway, this was one of my favorites. Next up is another show. Is a show that to me was very underrated, and I know there have been some people on here that didn't care too much for it, but I just thought it was pretty good, and this is Friday the 13th, the series. And even though it had the title as the same slasher movie series with Jason, the show was different, which dealt with these cousins who helped this old guy run this antique store get back cursed antique items, and the stories were definitely pretty good, especially from the first season. Next up is Tales from the Crypt, and this is the first season DVD, and I've got all 6 of the seasons except 7, which basically dealt with stories from England, and so far I haven't really bothered with it. And it's hard to tell which stories from this show were great. I mean, they were basically pretty good. I mean, the one with the Humphrey Bogart look-alike I didn't care too much for, and there was one with the guy from Night Court, Corman's Calamity, which I didn't care too much for either, but quite a lot of the stories on here were excellent. And I'm sure a lot of people on here are going to lynch me or kick my ass if this isn't at number 1, but got to put this at number 2. And of course I'm talking about AMC's The Walking Dead, and the show's now in its 3rd season, and it kicked off the second half of the 3rd season Sunday, and it's definitely a pretty good season. In the last season, Shane got killed off, which I was glad. I mean, I was sad to see Dale go, and I also have the 2nd season limited edition Zombie Bust, which is now out of print, and I just heard that the 3rd season is going to get another limited edition collectible Blu-ray set, which is pretty cool, but so far there hasn't been a release date for it. Anyway, I've also been reading the graphic novels of this also, and the show the graphic novels have definitely, they're a little different from the show, but the show is definitely excellent. And last but not least is a true classic that was definitely better than the 80s version, and I'm talking about the Twilight Zone, and I've got the complete definitive collection, and all of the episodes on here are classics. The 4th season was basically the 4th season were the hour-long episodes, which were all right, but I liked the half-hour episodes better. It's hard to pick which one's a favorite of mine. There was Eye of the Beholder, To Serve Man, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, and quite a few others. And there was the movie which came out in '83. That's been it for this video, and I hope you all have enjoyed it. If you'd like to do a video response, feel free to do so. Until then, you all have a good day.